Okay, Mitesh, thanks a lot for your trading ideas. Gautam Duggad is joining us now, Head of Research at Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Gautam, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Gautam, there's a bit of a debate about what's happening in the market in terms of the price action versus the fundamentals and the valuations. Your thoughts?
Hi Anuj, good morning. Yeah, I mean, clearly prices seems to be running slightly ahead of fundamentals, but it's not unheard of. Any bull market, you will always find that markets are trying to be slightly ahead of the fundamentals. Similarly, we find exactly the reverse situation when things turn. What is happening right now, Anuj, is clearly you have economy opening up and corporate commentary turning quite bullish. If you look at the results season which has gone by, till 15th of May, corporates were sounding very uncertain and giving a very a cautious outlook. Post 15th of May, whichever result has come, the commentary has changed clearly, and obviously it has coincided with the cases coming down on COVID-19, and of course now vaccinations also picking up. So across sectors, you're seeing management talking about demand improving. Luckily, I think even in BFSI, we might have escaped with not a very big cut. Of course, there are issues. There will be some increase in slippages, but not a whole lot. So, and of course, we've ended FY21 with a good 14% earnings growth. The outlook for FY22 is quite bullish with more than 30% earnings growth. So clearly, market is struggling to find reasons to fall. Even post the Fed commentary, we saw within a day or two, things have gotten back to normalcy again. There was 1 or 2 days of scare and volatility. But yeah, some of the mid caps, some of the small caps, the valuations are leaving absolutely no room for any sort of error. And therefore, it is very important that while trying to look for ideas, one does a thorough job on bottoms up and cash flows, because it's very easy to get carried away in such kind of an environment.
Okay, Gautam, hi, good morning. Your note on the BFSI sector is very interesting. You say that the corporate banking cycle is changing, and the banks that have undergone an adverse corporate asset quality cycle earlier are now on the path to recovery. What gives you this confidence, and which are the banks that you suggest investors should look into?
So Sonia, when you look at the slightly longer term data on fundamentals of banking system, and specifically the large cap banks, you will find that the decade which has gone by was clearly led by retail oriented financials, where the share of retail banks in the overall credit pool went up from 18-19% to 28%. And we saw phenomenal outperformance by the likes of HDFC Bank, Kotak Bank, Bajaj Finance. In fact, if you see the cumulative pre-provisioning operating profit, you will find that 40 to 60% of PPOP of some of this erstwhile corporate-oriented financials like SBI, ICICI, and Axis, 40 to 60% of that PPOP was deployed into credit cost or provisions. Whereas for retail-oriented financials, that number was just about 10 to 11%. I mean, just to give a sense of number, SBI had a cumulative pre-provisioning operating profit of 5,20,000 crore for the decade. Out of that, more than 3 lakh crore went into provisions. So eventually, by the time you look at numbers on earnings, that is profit after tax, the decade's cumulative earnings for SBI were just about 85,000 crore. And HDFC Bank's number was 50% higher, despite PPOP being just 40% of SBI. So that gives you a sense of what happened in the past cycle. Now, when you look ahead, and in fact, this process of bottoming out of asset quality started way back in FY18, FY19. If you look at the Nifty earnings of just 10 financials which are part of Nifty, you will find that they delivered somewhere around 44,000 crores of profits in FY18. From there, we've already reached to 1,17,000 crores. And going forward, we are projecting that by FY23, this number can be 2 lakh crore for financials. Now, of course, within that, these retail-oriented financials are still giving you a stable earnings growth, nothing wrong with that. But the delta, which is what matters for incremental stock returns or incremental wealth creation, that is accruing from the erstwhile corporate-oriented financials. When you look at their credit cost, when you look at their capital levels, and incrementally you're seeing that over a period of time, your capex cycle is also going to make a gradual comeback. So that is what is giving us confidence. And that's one of the points that we made in that report is when cycle changes in favor of this corporate-oriented financials, typically valuations do not stay at averages. They move from lows to the highs. And that is where the big money is made. So to answer your specific questions, there is not much difference in terms of stock preference changes. We're still recommending ICICI, Axis, and SBI to play that part of the cycle.
Okay, by the way, the stock of the moment now is Tata Motors. It's a stock which has corrected a bit, but just look at that stock today. I think it's a bit of a global factor right now, bit of a breakaway gap, and just showing an interesting trend right now, 2% higher on that stock. Just pull out a slightly longer chart of Tata Motors just to press home the point I'm making in terms of the kind of move it's seen. Yeah, there it is. From its highs, it's corrected a bit, and now it's taken support and is moving a bit. Gautam, what about a stock like Tata Motors? It's of course a global play, but what would be your call here?
So Anuj, as you rightly pointed out, more of a global play. We currently prefer Motherson Sumi in that segment, but yeah, no denying the fact that the operating leverage and financial deleverage can create wonders for some stock like Tata Motors. I mean, if you look at their guidance of EBIT margins for the JLR segment for next year, it's quite strong. At the margin, you are seeing globally situation improving because of vaccinations. Companies will revise at some point of time in the next 6 months their guidances for FY22. And at the same time, we have seen some of the company-specific projects on cost containment that they have taken, whether it is Project Charge, and they've elaborated a whole host of measures that they're going to take for FY22 in their recently released annual report. It does give one a confidence that if the global economic cycle and within that specifically the discretionary part of the segment is changing, then clearly stocks like Tata Motors can be at the forefront of that, that change in sentiment that we are seeing globally now.
Okay, the other space I wanted to discuss with you was consumption, because as we speak, names like Asian Paints, Bata, something like a Venky's, all sitting at fresh highs, and now with more vaccinations coming through, the economy opening up, I'm sure consumption will also pick up. What would your pick of the pack be here, where there's still growth and valuations are still not that expensive?
Sonia, unfortunately, in this space, valuations are never cheap. So one will have to contend with that fact. One of the ways to beat those high valuations is to extend your holding period and look at a slightly longer term picture. And if you have a less than 1 year view, for sure, consumption should not figure in your, picking list. But yeah, if you have a, horizon of more than 3 years, then definitely consumption in India remains an evergreen story. Nothing has changed over there. And our picks in that basket has also not changed over the last 4 or 5 years. What we like has by and large remained the same. The likes of Hindustan Lever, Titan, Pidilite, Britannia, and Tata Consumer. Some of those stocks are already part of our model portfolio as well. Interestingly, what we have seen over the last few days, again, it's a very short term, after almost going nowhere in this bull rally, Hindustan Lever has started making some movement. I think some of the guidances and some of the commentary which is coming from the ground on consumer staples specifically is pointing towards an optimistic outlook, not just for June, but also for 2Q FY22 and onwards. Whereas some of the other franchises that you have mentioned, Asian Paints, their volume growth was magnificent for this quarter. 48% volume growth they've delivered, and their guidance for FY22 also looks reasonably strong. Titan spoke, I think, a couple of days back that they are seeing a very good return of footfalls in the stores that has opened up. So in consumer, the strategy remains the same. You ignore the short-term noise, focus on long-term, and continue to side with the names which have delivered good returns in the past and where they enjoy leadership in their respective market segments. So that's why I mentioned those 4 or 5 names, which we've been liking for a very long period of time and which are part of our model portfolio as well.
Okay, good morning, Gautam. It's always a pleasure having you with us. Okay, I would have really wanted to start at the EPS of either the Nifty or the companies that you follow. What has the trajectory been now? I think when we last spoke, you had revised it lower. Was it in May that you had revised it a bit lower? What are your EPS forecasts for current year and more importantly for 23?
So, Lata, we are ending FY21 with 540, which is what our estimates were at the time of pre-call.
Yes,
maybe
were.
5 or 6 rupees slightly higher. So when we did the preview, it was, I think, 533 or 535 rupees. We're ending it at 540, which is a growth of 14%. And as I keep repeating, it is the highest growth in a decade for Nifty earnings, corporate earnings.
Okay.
As for FY22, what has happened actually in the second half of the earnings season, Lata, is metals and oil and gas companies have given a blockbuster set of results. And that has driven a huge magnitude of upgrades in FY22 numbers. So cumulatively, top down, when you look at Nifty FY22 EPS estimates, we have seen a marginal 1.5% upward revision for FY22 numbers to somewhere close to 745, 750 rupees, right? This number was a percent lower when we did the preview. So, and if you exclude metals and oil and gas, then there is a slight downward revision in estimates. But in total, when you look at aggregate numbers, Nifty FY22, FY23 EPS has seen a 1 to 1.5% upward revision in the EPS estimate. And this is singularly led by metals and oil and gas. In fact, that is what the story of the quarter has been as well. 76% profit growth for Nifty, well ahead of estimates. But you remove metals and oil and gas, then the numbers are by and large in line with estimates.
Okay. So
the
540,
will, be for
540 to 745 is the
38% growth.
Is the increase. 38%. Yeah. Okay, that's great. All right. Now let me come to that individual stock, especially the one that you mentioned, metal and oil and gas. First, metals. Is that all priced in, this superlative EPS growth that you're pointing out?
Well, it's very tricky when it comes to cyclicals, and within cyclicals, commodities to make guesses on what is priced in and what is not priced in. 6 months back when Tata Steel was 800, one would have made the same case that it is priced in. The stock had rallied from 300 to 800 from the depth of the pandemic in March to somewhere close to December. What is important to note, Lata, is underlying fundamentals for metals remains quite strong. When you look at the demand supply mechanics, when you see at the news which is coming on the macro from not just India, but even China and US, the thrust towards infrastructure creation, right? So it does seem that the buoyancy in the underlying commodity prices is here to stay, at least in the 1H FY22. There is nothing called as long-term in commodities or cyclicals. You have to take it quarter by quarter or max 6 months to 6 months. So when I look at numbers, I see that in 1H FY22, at least the possibility of numbers being revised downwards is very, very low. I don't know if we will revise the number upward, but in the last 6 months, we've done 6 upward revisions in our metals earnings estimate. So till that time that buoyancy is maintained in underlying commodity prices, clearly you see that stocks may not correct much. But the worrying factor is when you look at the valuations, which is either EV to EBITDA or price to book, that is not offering much comfort or safety to you now. So yeah, I mean, at the moment we have an overweight stance on metals in our model portfolio. We like Hindalco, JSW Steel and JSPL. But at some point of time, we will try and see where we can trim those positions now, because valuations are not offering a whole lot of comfort in that space now.
Okay. Gautam, what about a stock like Info Edge? We'll be talking to management soon, but what kind of view would you have on this stock, especially after the bit of an earnings disappointment that we had yesterday?
So Anuj, we've not found the valuations comfortable there for a long period of time now. So we have a neutral stance. Numbers were slightly disappointing, but I think the commentary on billing, especially in their core business of job search, has improved. And then of course the factor of Zomato, Policybazaar, and some of the other industry companies that they have, that more or less drives the stock price performance. But yeah, I mean, the valuations are clearly unpalatable for us right now. So we have a neutral stance over there.
Okay, valuations are unpalatable. Coming back to that argument that, we started off with about banks, and you did say that you still prefer some of the larger banks, whether it's an ICICI Bank, an Axis Bank, and SBI. Within NBFCs, I wanted your thoughts, because there's so much happening here in the housing finance space. The CV financiers are bouncing back now, demand has come back, tractor financiers doing well. What would your pick of the pack be there from a longer term, say 2 to 3 year time horizon?
Sure. So, Sonia, I feel that banking or financials, just to put it in a broader context, is the best open-up trade for India right now, because that offers the largest part of the segment, and that is where the upturn when it comes to operating leverage and credit costs going down, they will offer a twin benefits of both earnings-led upside as well as some valuation re-rate. The interesting thing in NBFC is valuations are still offering you enough room for making money. Obviously, I'm talking about in NBFC's X of HDFC and Bajaj Finance, because they're part of every portfolio. In fact, we also like those two names. But aside of that, what we like is we like Chola, we like Shriram Transport. Those are two names where we see both room for earnings upside as well as valuation multiple re-rating a little bit in this cycle. And as you rightly mentioned, as economy opens up more and more and your auto numbers improve, the view on some of these stocks can change fairly rapidly. So those are the two names, and of course they are sitting on a pretty good PCR ratios as well as capital levels after the recent fundraise by Shriram Transport. So those are two specific names in NBFC that we like, and of course then there are a whole lot of opportunities outside of the lending financials in the BFSI basket. Insurance is there, capital market funds are there, So the room for playing around with allocation in the BFSI has expanded significantly over the years, and that's why the headache also for a capital allocator when it comes to allocating money to BFSI.
I'm going to ask you that question finally. The viewers who are looking at you will want to know where should they therefore put the incremental money. We are at 16,000. Let's be realistic about it. We didn't expect this a few months back. So at what you may call elevated levels, if I'm going to put my next month's savings, how would you allocate it?
Yeah, that's a tricky question, Lata. I'm presuming that your viewers will obviously have a long-term view.
Yes.
And with that caveat, I would put that money into following 3 or 4 baskets. First and foremost, it will go into financials because, as I said, the valuations do offer a room for re-rating the large cap financials, both in banks and NBFCs. And that is the best open up trade in my view. And I'll follow that up with some of the evergreen trades in India, consumption. IT, we are remaining very positive. Even now, we are running a 300 bips plus overweight on IT sector. I think the digital transformation theme is here to stay for multiple years. And if you go through the annual reports which have come out for the top 5 or top 3 IT companies, it looks fairly interesting that this is not the IT of 5 years back that we were talking about. COVID has clearly provided a tailwind to the top tier IT companies, and that is where I think money can still be made. And then when it comes to cyclicals, I will play around between the cement, metals, auto, and then interesting 8 or 10 mid caps that we have always highlighted in our reports. So that's how I will construct the portfolio. More biased towards financial, consumer, and IT, and then a mix of cement, metals, and some of the mid caps.
Okay. Well, that's most useful, Gautam. Any conversation with you is useful. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a safe, balanced 2022 yourself. Okay. Well, that was a conversation which should be most useful in terms of allocating your resources. With that, let's move to